Welcome back to a brand new live stream on the channel. Today we have a brand new project that I have not spoken about, at least on this channel as of yet. I did mention it like maybe a year ago, but I have not spoken about it. And we have, two founders on the AMA today. Bart, Steve, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Great to be here.
Very good to see you guys, man. Let's go over the project, EstateX. Let's just give us a brief description of what it is, and then we can go into more detail, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes into the AMA.
Absolutely. I'll give a quick summary of what EstateX is. So EstateX, we're building since 5 years now. We've already been developing this for 5 years. I think that's really the key that you need to do in the RWA space, because we see so many RWA projects, just launching left and right without having the right foundations. And if you really want to have the right foundations with what we're doing, you need to have everything in place and secure, such as legal framework, complete foundation, the backers, your tech, etc., etc. So what we are building is we're building this compliant all-in-one RWA hub, where you can do basically everything around assets, finances, and more, where we have an L1 RWA blockchain, but we also have a tokenization investment platform with revolutionary financial solutions. And I'll let Steve kick off about the tokenization investment platform, and then after I will get into the RWA blockchain and how that's all tied in together, and why the ESX token is like really the lifeblood of that, and how it all ties into the ecosystem.
All right, thank you very much. Well, as I said, CryptoG, pleasure to be here. I know that a big chunk of your community have already invested as well, including yourself. So obviously looking forward to addressing them. Towards the end of this AMA, we're going to talk about some amazing alpha and what to expect at launch and what to expect beyond launch as well, because we're more than just a typical tokenization real estate company. So that's just really, really important for people to understand that there's a lot of things that's going to be happening a week after launch, a month after launch, and things that we've put in place for the chart to keep going in that right direction. So first of all, for those who haven't heard of EstateX, yes, we're tokenizing real estate, but we're doing it in a way that's never been done before. We have one of the biggest communities in tokenized real estate. We have one of the most active communities in RWA. Shout out to the EstateX family. And it is a situation where we're bringing the real world into RWA. Now, I want everybody to think about kind of like the cities where they're from. And if you go out and stop 100 people in the street right now and you ask them, are you currently invested in crypto? In our minds, we'd like to say it's a lot higher, but I know from like, where I'm from in the UK, Birmingham, and, and where everybody else is from, it's very, very, very scarce, like maybe 1, 2, 3 people. Some countries might say 5 or 10%, but the vast majority aren't. But if you ask those same people, have you ever thought about owning a piece of real estate in your life? 100% are going to say yes. So it blows our mind that we're not seeing more RWA companies actually focusing on targeting the real world. A lot of people are setting up these RWA projects, setting up these tokenization projects, and some of them look great on the surface, but then when you see them grow and expand out, you're not really seeing them get that mass worldwide adoption. With what we're doing is something different. We appeal to Web3, but we also appeal to Web2. You guys may have already heard and seen that we have the co-founder of USDT on our board, and basically one of our big advisors and backers, Brock Pierce. We also have the CEO of Remax, England and Wales. It's a massive advisor, big investor, and also now director of global distribution. We have a grant from Microsoft, one of the biggest companies in the world. We also have another grant reveal that's going to be coming up closer to launch as well. And there's a lot of just things that we're doing when we've laid those foundations. When Bart founded the company about 5 years ago, and then myself and the team, we joined probably about 3-4 months after that. And what I really liked about Bart and what he was like building his vision, that 5 years ago, I mean, CryptoG, you remember what it was like 5 years ago, right? Where you could literally drop a pitch deck on the floor and raise $500,000. You know what I mean? And it's like, how rare is it to find, a founder that isn't really money hungry and didn't really chase the money back then when it was so easy to get the money back then? He actually wanted to build something sustainable. And, together we built the foundations, the licensing, the legalities, the registrars, the property roadmap, the team, the partners, everything in place, the platform, which we'll go into in a second, to make sure that when we launch, which is next Wednesday on June the 18th, we're going to be one of the highest regulated tokenization projects on the planet. And it's something that we've set ourselves up for success with Web3. but also Web 2. We always use the analogy of Tracy. Well, it was Sharon, but it can also be Tracy, single mom from London. And basically, she's 30 years old. She's never owned a piece of crypto in her life. She doesn't know anything about tokenomics or the blockchain. She disqualifies herself when she hears that. But Sharon has an Uber account. Sharon has an Amazon account. Sharon has a need to actually be investing in real estate. I don't know if you have access to the platform videos at all, but it might be a good time to show.
Where would that be? Would it be on the Twitter?
It's probably on the website.
Share with you in the Telegram chat.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull them up. Hold on.
Let me get.
So basically, what we're building.
You guys can share your screen as well if you want to do it. Share your screen, and then I can pull up your screen. So if you guys can get it, let me see. I'm gonna go find it now. 1 second.
Yeah, it's not a problem. But either way, Bart can send it to you on Telegram anyway. But I'll go into the explanation of why the platform is so unique. Because there you go. Because basically, we're living in a world of TikTok, Amazon, YouTube Shorts, Uber. Everybody wants that instant gratification. It's like people have a attention span shorter than a goldfish right now. And social media has really kind of like taken advantage of that. So people are expecting, Sharon, she's not going to want to come over to Web3 platform and try and get her head around it. She's just going to disqualify herself. But now with EstateX, we're making investing in real estate simple, affordable, and accessible to anyone everywhere. With as little as $100, Sharon can now get into the property market. So we have one of the lowest barriers to entry. And then Sharon can actually be buying, a fraction of a penthouse in Dubai, or a fraction of a skyrise in Japan, or a fraction of a castle in England. And she can actually be swiping through her phone and actually adding to cart and actually literally checking out, and she owns that. We're making investing in real estate as simple as online shopping. Our platform's kind of like a remix between Tinder and Amazon. You can swipe through different buildings, you can click, you can add to cart, and then you can check out, and then boom, you own that piece of real estate. And that's something that we're not seeing in RWA, even though that seems very simple. And if you scroll down a little bit, scroll down a touch, just stop there. So obviously you can just see, it's okay, it's fine. But so I think Bart sent you the video.
This one, I can pull up the video now. 1 second, I just gotta change my screen because it's on Telegram. So
no problem.
It's gonna show all the DMs and everything. 1 second.
Don't be exposing your DMs now. but yeah. So what you're about to see is we're setting everything up for the mass worldwide adoption. We'll go on to kind of like the second part of what we're doing as well, which is the EstateX Pay system. So we're making investing in real estate. Oh, do we have it?
No, I'm about to.
Okay, no problem. So with EstateX Pay, so we've got the fractional ownership, and we've got our innovative platform, which is a seamless transition from Web 2 to Web 3. Anybody's able to use it, whether you're a 5-year-old, or whether you're an 8-year-old or age pension, or whether you're Sharon. You're able to use this. Quite simple.
Shall I play it?
Yeah, go for it.
You guys can hear it, right?
No, but you don't need to hear it.
Are you playing the video? Because
it's not playing at the moment. Bro.
Is it not playing?
No, it's not playing. I just see your Telegram screen.
You can see the mouse cursor.
I don't think it's gonna play then, unless like there's like a link on like on Twitter or something. I can probably open it that way, but I don't think it's gonna play through
no worries. Well, but if you can find if there's a Twitter link or something, but or ask Marty.
I'll check. Unless I can share it in your community, I'll do that. I'll just share it in your community.
Just share in the community. They'll see it anyways.
Yeah. So guys, if you check in your community, you'll see the platform video. And what you're about to see is as I like to call it, a remix between Tinder and Amazon. You can swipe through different buildings, you can click, you can look at the metrics. You like it, add to cart, check out, then boom, you own that piece of real estate. Within seconds, we're making that something that might have taken weeks, months, or even hours, literally in seconds, like you're ordering an Uber or ordering from Amazon. We're making investing in real estate as simple as online shopping. So now Sharon, she could actually be having a worldwide portfolio in the palm of her hand, just sitting on the couch at home and buying all of these properties and increasing her portfolio easily in Web 3, but she still feels like she's in Web 2. And that's the key difference, because there's a lot of people out there that are building platforms that are just for that small minority, than 1-2 people you stuff in the street. But with RWA and EstateX, we're bringing the real world into RWA. And that's one of the unique selling points. The next thing we've got is EstateX Pay. Imagine being able to put your everyday goods and services on your real estate. Now, bit of alpha for you guys. About next quarter, we're going to be announcing a massive partnership with one of the top tier payment providers. There's not many to choose from, so you can kind of have a guess of who it is. And imagine having your real estate on a debit card, not a credit card, a debit card. So you can go to the gym, you can go fuel your car, go to the restaurant, and then you just tap, swipe, use chip and pin. And then basically through a DeFi off-ramp and our liquidity providers, you will take that transaction from crypto, instantly convert into fiat, and then you're paying for that, which is quite revolutionary, never been done before in tokenized real estate. But to take it that step further, if you really think about it for a second, it's actually going to reduce the need for banks because, you know, taking it back and looking at things, the world as a macro level at the moment, the world is in a bit of a state of emergency. And, you know, me, Bart, CryptoG, we've had this conversation previously. We're all very privileged, and I'm sure that everybody in this chat is very privileged, meaning that we can travel around the world, we can pay our phone bills, we can, you know, pay everything on time. But a lot of the average Joes are struggling at the moment. People don't walk around the world with the sun on their head to say that I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but a lot of people are struggling. The average 30-year-old cannot get into the property market at the moment. The rates of inflation are just crippling people. You know, the banks are getting, people are trusting the banks less and less with the interest rates. And obviously the banks will just use our money, invest it, make millions and give us pennies in return. And if you put your money and leave your money in the bank, you're actually losing money for rates of inflation, which is crazy. But the banks have us by the balls. You know, they have all the liquidity. If I said to you now, go and withdraw 50 quid out your £50 out of your home, out of your home, you couldn't do it. But if I said go and withdraw £50 out of your bank, you could do it very easily. So that's why we use the bank, so we can get our money very quickly. With real estate, it's great. You have your capital gains, you have your rental income, but to go and actually withdraw money from your real estate, you've got to go to the bank, you've got to fill out a remortgage, you've got to sign your life away, you've got to have credit checks. That can take weeks or months to get your own money out of the bank. With EstateX Pay, it's all of the positives of the bank and none of the negatives, and all of the positives of real estate and none of the negatives. We're bringing liquidity to real estate that's never been done before. So now you can actually pay for your everyday goods and services with real estate, just like you're withdrawing money from the bank, or just like you're swiping, tapping, and using your chip and pin. So Sharon, why would she need to put her wages in the bank at the end of each month? Sharon now actually put her monthly wages into her real estate. She's not losing money through inflation. She's gaining money through capital gains. She's gaining money through the rental income. And also she has the instant liquidity to pay for her groceries and pay for everyday goods and services. So why would she need a bank? We also have instant loans as well, where you can actually loan up to 70% of your real estate portfolio instantly. And then finally, we have the EstateX University, something that's very close to our heart, something that we're very proud of that we're launching later this year. And we're going to be empowering people with the knowledge to not just take a loan, because EstateX, we're a company built by the people, for the people. We don't want to be profiting our people in debt. So to not take a loan to actually buy a PlayStation, which is a liability, but actually to take a loan to actually buy another property, just like the multimillionaires do, but do it in the right controlled way, using good debt, leveraging that good debt to increase your assets in your portfolio. And this is the sort of edgy things that are missing in the education system. These are sort of things that should be taught at school and university. And the way we see it is currently education, unfortunately, is more like indoctrination. It conditions us how to be employees. It doesn't teach us how to be bosses. Obviously, we're not shitting on the education system. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you can obviously go and do that. But if you actually want to really get ahead in life, there's just things that you're not learning in the education system. So to summarize, EstateX's ecosystem, we're going to be disrupting the $300 trillion real estate industry, disrupting the banking and lending industry, and also disrupting the education industry. And we have the team and the ecosystem, the legalities, the backers, the platform, the properties, the roadmaps, the partners, and everything in place to go on this epic journey to make history. And we'll get into some of the other things like the blockchain coming up as well. But even though it's a bit more detailed, it's just really important that everybody in this community understands that you may have seen tokenization of real estate before, but we're actually doing it differently than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this was one of the things that when I first seen the project a year ago, I think it might have been a bit longer, but this is one of the things that really stood out because there's a lot of, you know, real estate tokenizations, but they don't do it the way you guys do it. You know, is a completely different path, and I think that path is much needed. You know, something like this where you can turn your investment into fiat and then use it to pay your subscriptions and you know, little stuff like that. It makes it very convenient for the average person, and I think that's what makes you guys stand out above most other projects, especially in the real estate area. Another question is just regarding the.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, carry on, Bob. Sorry. No, carry on.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, I think that's indeed one of the things that makes us so unique, is that, you know, the idea of fractionalization itself is not necessarily new. You know what I mean? If you look, for example, like a REIT could also be like a sort of fractionalization. Obviously, you know, you don't really have control over where your money goes, but it's a sort of like a fractionalized investment. But the way that, you know, the additional benefits that we bring are so unique in the sort of finance space that have never been seen before. I mean, you know, like Steve said, paying with your real estate investments as a sort of a hedge against inflation, sort of replacing banks almost. You know, you don't leave money on the bank anymore. You can invest into real estate, earn capital appreciation, rental income, at the same time being able to make it so liquid. And around that, you know, to amplify the whole ecosystem, I'll touch upon this quickly, but I'm sure we'll go into depth later on. So definitely stay tuned, because this is going to be a very important part of the ecosystem, is the ESX blockchain. And with the ESX RWA blockchain, which we're developing, which is going to testnet next month, we actually announced the date earlier today. It's 16th July. It's going to testnet. And this blockchain is also kind of unique in the kind of that, you know, next to the tokenization technology that we have, you know, double proxy smart contracts, regulated tokenization on the blockchain, where through a regulated registrar, you're actually able to store ownership actually into a smart contract in a regulated way. So we're able to give out regulated security tokens representing your real estate investments or any asset ownership, but also the complete package that we offer, right? Because what we are doing to become this all-in-one RWA hub with, you know, an investment platform, but also with the blockchain itself, is that we are offering like a complete package of incubation, putting projects into the market, and setting up new business models for institutions, where projects and institutions that tokenize or build on the EstateX blockchain are able to tap into our legal framework, which we've done years to build, so they don't have to get the legal framework and the legal clarity themselves. They can make use of our broker's licenses, of our registry licenses, of the custodian licenses that we're working with. Furthermore, they are able to raise funds. So institutions are able to raise funds for our asset offerings through our institutional investor database, but also through our community. But also new projects are able to basically raise funds for, let's say, token offerings, for example. And next to that, we deliver white label technology as well, such as asset management platforms, such as white label investment platforms, like Steve said, where you can swipe through the different buildings and invest within a couple of minutes. So it basically creates this all-in-one package for new projects to be able to be completely put in the market with incubation, legal framework they don't have to get, all the tokenization technology that we have with ZK KYC on the ESX blockchain, so KYC data can be shared easily, tokenization technology, regulated tokenization, the white label platforms, but also the ability to raise funds, right? The fundraising can all be done while being incubated in the EstateX. So we completely put new RWA projects in the market, and it basically means that we are this all-in-one solution with, on the one side, for institutional and for retail investors with the complete investment platform, but also for institutions that want to set up new business models to distribute fractionalized real estate offerings, and for new RWA projects building on the blockchain. So the beautiful thing about this is that the token that's going live in 6 days on the exchanges, and that your community also invested in, centers around that being the native token of the blockchain. But what we also see is, for example, via transaction fees on the platform, that 20 to 35% of a EstateX company revenue actually flows back into the ESX token as well. I think we lost Steve for a moment, but I'm sure he will join.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah,
he'll be back. But yeah, no, it basically means that everything within the ecosystem is tied to ESX. So it basically means that whether anything gets tokenized on the ESX blockchain, and I'll give you an example. We don't even need to sell real estate ourselves, right? We are working with an institution who wants to commit up to $100 million to be tokenized on the ESX blockchain in the coming 2 years. And that's just one institution. And they just want to get their assets on chain and make use of a white label technology. But they have a huge investor database themselves. They can sell the real estate offerings to. And basically, with our ability to, deliver the legal framework and have a next level tokenization technology plus white label platforms, it basically means that we are able to get massive amounts of total value locked on the blockchain without needing to sell it ourselves. And I'll give you an example how fast that can go. So if you look at Plume Network, everybody knows Plume Network. I'm sure you're aware they only have $60 million TVL on the blockchain, right? Locked on their chain. But their market cap hovers around $250 million. So it just illustrates the potential of what is possible here and the parties that we are working with. And tying that to the ESX token, we also see 20 to 35% of company-generated revenue via the investment platform with things like buybacks, transaction fees. That flows back into the ESX token as well. So it basically means that the better the company does, ESX grows along with that and profits always of the success of the business, not dependent on any bear or bull cycles. Not saying that, if we go into a bear market, you will not feel it. Obviously, everybody will feel a bear market, but it does create the possibility to have a token where there's a consistent USD inflow if the business behind it performs well, that is not dependent on bear and bull cycles, such as white label technology, selling of real estate, making use of the loans that we have, assets that getting tokenized on the blockchain, new projects getting incubated by EstateX. So ESX holders profit of all of that. And that's one of the beautiful things about the ecosystem. And I also think that all in one package for institutions, new projects, and investors with all kinds of revolutionary solutions that you can't find elsewhere is what makes the ESX token quite a unique thing. But it also makes EstateX this authority in RWA, so to say, where you know that if you want to start something or you want to make an investment, EstateX is the number one hub to go to. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about EstateX, and it also things that shows the potential. And last thing I'll say about this is, even if you have not invested in the pre-sale, if you buy on launch or shortly after, you are still early. We're just launching on a 20 million FTV. A 20 million FTV for an L1 blockchain. The partners that we have, USDT co-founder, the backing, etc., etc. This, by the way, needs an update. We're updating the site this weekend.
Yeah,
but it basically means that it basically means that this all-one RWA hub makes us the authority, and that we're launching on such a low FTV. Basically means that investors are still early. I mean, we see blockchains here and there launch on 100 million FTV, 150 million FTV, but we're launching on a $20 million FTV, and seeing that the potential inflow, the longevity that we have, the institutions that we're onboarding, the blockchain is getting launched, you will still be early.
So this is one of the questions for someone that's a brand new investor and wants to buy off launch. Can you just go over the vesting schedule and the tokenomics? Because he's asking if it's fair launched or if it's
So
the vesting schedule.
The vesting for pre-sale investors is it ties into the longevity that we have. So it's 5% released at TGE, followed by a 3-month cliff and 9-month vesting. So in total, it's a year-long vesting schedule. So that's for pre-sale investors. If you buy at launch, you don't have any vesting, so you'll be able to do with your tokens whatever and exit at any moment if you would want to, or buy more, or stake your tokens. One of the beautiful things about our community and how incentivized the EstateX community is that also 55% of our pre-sale tokens are staked and locked for an average of 7 years. And I think that just speaks volumes to what the community thinks of the longevity potential, the revenue inflow that flows back, knowing that the more years we have and the bigger the business grows, the bigger the potential of the token and the inflow of the token as well, and the more projects and institutions that build on the blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. I think it speaks volumes about 75% for 7 years. That's the average staking position of our community. It's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. But it just speaks volumes to how much our community believes in it. We have the biggest community in tokenized real estate at the moment. Yeah. And don't take my word for it. You know what I mean? Go to our. You can confirm.
Go to the Telegram, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, these guys, that the first property went live, and I was watching it. It literally sold out in like 5 minutes. It was so fast that it's like people are just standing there ready to click the button to buy. So these guys have, a massive community, and I think this project would do phenomenal. I invested a decent amount into this, and I'll probably buy a decent amount of launch as well. This is definitely one I think to have in the long term. So another question is, what exchanges are you guys launching, or is this something that you can't really say?
No, we will be announcing this early next week, so a couple of days before launch, together with the exchanges. We can't say that right now, but it will be a variety of sexes and dexes.
Yeah, because I mean, is you guys are launching on? Is it still BNB and Sol?
No, that's a good question. Actually, we have we're sending out an update to all the internal partners as well today. So we actually moved from BSC and Sol. So Sol still stays the same, but we moved from BSC to Base. So the claiming token will be on Base, and then we provide a very easy bridge to Sol. But we're just, obviously, as you know, there's not much happening on BSC at the moment with new launches, not a lot of liquidity. So we decided to move to Base to make sure that we can tap into the massive liquidity that's on that chain at the moment with new launches, to make sure that we can maximize the result for everyone involved.
Yeah, I mean, Binance chain right now is not the spot to go, I think. I mean, it's always good to have Sol because, a lot of liquidity is already in Sol anyways. I think probably around 80%, 70% of the liquidity is on Sol. Base is starting to pick up as well. So you get on both of them, it's going to do really well, because even on Base, there's not a lot of good or any, RWA projects on there anyways. There's projects that obviously launch on other chains that move to Base, but there's not any that's actually launched on Base directly. So I think, I think that would be massive. Another question from my community was, you guys have this TVL, right? I mean, in moving forward, can you guys give us like a rough estimate on how much TVL you guys could lock within the next 2 years, or have locked already?
On the blockchain, you mean?
Yeah, on the blockchain, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So we have signed one institution now. They want to commit up to $100 million for the next 2 years. I'm not sure if that's all going to be locked. That's obviously up for discussion, because it also sometimes needs to be tradable and stuff. We've also signed a couple of projects now. We will be announcing one before TGE. One project to build on it, but we've seen, we've spread it out to a very small amount of our database and our connections, project connectors. And it's just crazy to see how much interest there is in the total package, with, fundraising is very interesting for them. The advanced tokenization technology, the white labels stuff that we have is very interesting for them. So it's hard to give an estimate. Also, legally, I wouldn't want to commit to a certain number. I don't want to put myself in trouble. But if you look at Plume, I think we could surpass that. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, their TVL I thought it was going to be a lot more, to be fair. But their mainnet just launched as well. Yeah. So, we got to see how it does. Hold on, another question from my community. Let me just ask this real quick. It was regarding, I think you kind of went over this anyway, so I don't really need to ask. It was just regarding what makes you guys stand out, from other RWA projects. Well, I think we kind of already went over that. So, is there anything else you guys want to directly talk about? Yeah, carry on, Steve.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll hear you fine.
Yeah, perfect. So one thing just to add to what Bart was saying, and what we were talking about with the blockchain and the potential of it, and what I was saying earlier is us bringing the real world into RWA. With some of the things that we're doing on the blockchain is going to be huge. So we're already in talks with signing up sports teams, sports leagues, multi-platinum selling music artists, fighters, fight leagues. So, and as Bart mentioned, over 20 to 35% of this revenue is going to be flowing back into the ESX token as buybacks as well. But all of these sports teams and the sports leagues, like you guys know how it is in UK, Europe, America, your sports team is almost like your religion. They have millions of fans, hundreds of millions of fans that follow them religiously. With what Bart was mentioning before, that we have that plug and play situation where we can bring a Web2 sports team, for example, onto a Web3 blockchain, but they don't have to wait 5 years to do the legalities like we did. They don't have to worry about how to market it. They don't have to worry about creating a seamless platform that's a transition from Web2 to Web3. They have all of that in place. The whole framework, the whole umbrella will incubate them and will help launch them onto the blockchain. And they're bringing their tens of millions, hundreds of millions of worldwide fan base with them as well. and it's really bringing the real world into RWA, into the blockchain as well. Like Bitcoin's like near the all-time high at the moment, but if we wanted to get to 500K, want to get to 1 million, we can't expect the same people back and forth and the same amount of people in the world as buying and selling and expect it to 10x or 100x. We need to start bringing the real world into it. It's not just about tokenizing real world assets and selling it to just a small part and just crypto people. It's about tokenizing real world assets, but then making it accessible for the real world. So some of these partnerships and the way we've structured this innovative RWA, like we said before, has never been done before. So you can just think about the growth potential that's happening from that. And the fact that 20 to 35% of that Web2 revenue flows back into the ESX token for buybacks, which is obviously going to be great for everybody's investments. Even in the bear market, we're going to be positively performing. Unfortunately, when the bear market happens, a lot of crypto people give up. Well, I'll see you in a few years' time. That's what it is. But at the end of the day, the world still keeps turning. Do you think the real world is going to start going to their football games? Do you think the real world is start going to buy streaming their artists? Do you think the real world is going to start like using the data on their phones and all of these sort of real world Web2 verticals that we're going to be tokenizing? It really is something special. So when we can't stress it enough, guys, when we launch, look at some of the staking options that we have in place, because I'm not trying to kind of like overhype this. I'm just saying to the fact that a month after launch, we're doing testnet. Then after that, we're doing the L1 like a month or two after that. Then we're doing the EstateX Pay cards, the EstateX University is coming out, and then we've got some amazing, massive announcements that we can't talk about yet, and big partnerships that's going to be announced just after launch as well. So literally, we're doing everything possible to make sure the chart keeps going in the right direction. So the future growth is absolutely phenomenal, and there's a reason why, the co-founder of USDT, who's been looking at tokenization for a while, and said it's not ready yet, no company's cracked it. There's a reason why he's heavily invested in backing EstateX, and the CEO of Remax and Glinda Wells is also doing the same as well.
Could you guys talk about the number of people in the team? I think the liquidity doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it's like half of the market cap is market cap and the other half is liquidity, correct? Off launch. Because someone's asking about the market cap off launch as well.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the number of 650 is without liquidity, and then 1.4 million is with liquidity. Speaking about the team, we have quite an experienced and big team. If we're talking about the management itself, we have must say the correct number. I think we have 10 people in the management at the moment, with huge experience. So if we look at the corporate side, we're looking at directors, in Germany, with our German entity, with our Luxembourg fund entity. We have directors who've done billions of dollars of deals, of asset deals with pension funds, wealth funds, insurance companies. So they have these big corporate and institutional connections ready to use for EstateX as well, having that experience. And also, I'll give you an example. Our German director, for example, Rainer, a great guy. Rainer owns or I have to say he owned and was a CEO of the biggest Bitcoin trading platform in Germany, with over $3 billion in assets under custody. And he's also the one that has made massive deals for securities, German securities, stock tradings with pension funds, wealth funds, etc., etc. So huge experience on that side, huge connections as well. Our Luxembourg fund managers have huge experience with family offices, also wealth funds, have run funds in the past. And then if you look at our US director, Michael Gort, who's also CEO of GDA Capital, he has raised over $500 million in digital assets, has used its corporate connections as well. And then if you look at our tech team, for example, our CTO, Graham, also an amazing guy. He's a former ECB project CBDC developer. So for the European Central Bank digital currency project, he worked on that as a developer. And he also has over a decade in blockchain experience, amazing, gifted CTO at the moment, very happy with him. And even the person that works under him, the second guy in our tech team, is a former technical project manager at Ethereum. So it just shows what kind of experienced team we have in the management. Then if we look at the total size of the team, we obviously have marketing, we have additional tech people, community members, business development managers, assistants. So I think in total we have 40 plus 50 people in the total team.
More, but like it's hard to keep up. We're talking about
really?
65 plus core team members.
Hard to count.
Remember, we've been hiring aggressively over the last couple of months, and probably going to be taking another 10, 20 more after launch as well. So it's the growth has just been phenomenal. And sometimes when you're in it, you almost feel like you're treading water. But then when you step back and actually look how far you've come, you're like, wow, like we've grown so much in the last year or two.
I got a personal question for myself, right? I know you guys are doing the real estate stuff. Is there a chance that you guys will potentially look into other tokenization? Because I think like at some point, you know, there's going to be a bunch of people that might even tokenize their YouTube channels. Or is that something that you guys have ever thought about? Like, you know, like YouTube channels or
This is
garages or something along those lines.
It's a great suggestion, and it's the future. It's not just about real estate. And as I was mentioning before, the sports teams that we're in talks with, the sports leagues, the A-list celebrities. I mean, you was on the video earlier type of thing where you're talking about like EstateX is back, and then you click and then you see me with Snoop Dogg, Tiffany Haddish, Paris Hilton on stage talking with them. We're in talks with like major A-list celebrities. We're in talks with platinum selling music artists. I think it's a bit further down. And but basically, to cut a long story short, of course, like imagine, there you go. If you click that, go about a minute in. Don't know if it'll play though. It wasn't playing for but yeah, go to about a minute in. So there's Paris Hilton, there's Tiffany Haddish, there's myself, Snoop Dogg behind. So yeah, we have an amazing network. So it's funny if you 40, 30 seconds more, like Snoop Dogg's holding up the EstateX sign behind me when I'm speaking. It was a very surreal moment, and it's just kind of like those moments like that to show kind of like how far we've come. And this was kind of like a very unique celebrity party where it's literally just A-list celebrities invited their friends and family, press, media, and so on and so forth. So we donated $25,000 worth of fractional ownership to inner city youths and young adults in LA through Tiffany Haddish's charity. Tiffany Haddish is an award-winning actress. She's been on Netflix specials, and movies in Kevin Hart, and obviously Snoop Dogg and Paris Hilton need no introduction. And they were supporting the charity and the foundation. And we're not only giving people fractional ownership of real estate, but we're also giving them lifetime membership to the EstateX platform, and also free access and early access to the financial literacy. So we're not just teaching them how to fish, but we're actually giving them their own bucket of fish, their own fishing rod, and doing that. And Tiffany was talking about setting up a docu-series with her friends in Hollywood so that we could show how EstateX is going to be changing people's lives. But the point that you were making, Crypto G, about tokenizing people, tokenizing YouTube careers. Imagine kind of like seeing KSI 10, 20 years ago thinking, you know what? I knew that he was going to be big. You know what I mean? Like for me, there's a freestyle rapper called Harry Mack, and I've been following him since like 50,000 followers. Then now he's at like 2-3 million. I'm thinking, damn, like I knew he would get to that. I knew he had the talent. I was able to tokenize him and actually buy a piece of his career, so to speak. It's a win-win situation because that YouTuber or that celebrity will get a cash injection, but then also they get their fans turning into super fans. Now they want to be plugging the music. They want to be pushing to all their friends, going to their concerts. They're almost building an army of revenue with them. Yeah, exactly. And then when obviously that person gets number one, or that person succeeds or gets better and gets more subscribers, I'm making money, and I feel like I'm part of that as well. So there's a big. I'm glad you brought it up. There's a huge element in that, and it's going to go way beyond sports team and music teams. And to be honest, I could really get excited and talk too much about that. I don't want to speak too much, but we have some phenomenal things in the pipeline. We are changing the game, and as I said, we're bringing the real world into tokenization, and that just hasn't unfortunately been done before. But we're hoping EstateX can inspire a movement and a lot of other people doing that as well.
I think it will start to blow up. I think once people realize, you know, it's like you have a community, and if your community wants to do well with you, you know, they can share your videos, and I think that's helpful for both sides, the community and the YouTuber as well. You know, and if you can just share some of that revenue with your YouTubers, I think it'll be quite good because you get that, you know, initial liquid injection as well.
100%. It's a win-win-win situation. As you said, it's a win for the YouTuber, it's a win for the community members, and it's also a win for EstateX and all the EstateX token holders, because that revenue is going into our blockchain, and that 25 to 35% of that revenue is going to be flowing back into the ESX token as well. So you're starting to see now why we're not worried about this bear market coming up, whether it's this year or next year. We've literally spent the last 4 or 5 years strategically putting things in place, laying down the foundations that we can be positively performing for all of our investors all year round, and that's the plan, and that's what we're executing.
Yeah, another question is like, have you guys have the roadmap out yet or no? In terms of what you guys are planning to do for the remaining of the year?
Yeah, so We have a new roadmap on the calendar for tomorrow to be announced. So yes, we have a complete roadmap. The current one in the community is a little bit outdated, but we're updating it tomorrow, completely laying out everything that we're gonna do. You know, when blockchain is going to testnet. Obviously, we announced that 16th of July, but also when it's going to mainnet, when the first project is going to be built on it. The first fundraising opportunities, the asset offerings, then the release of the business pillars, etc., etc. So yeah, we have tomorrow. We will update you. We'll make sure to send it through to you as well, so you can share with your community. 100%.
Yeah, I'll share with my community. So the only thing I gotta do now with my community is because you guys are moving from the Binance chain to the base chain.
Nice.
I have to just basically collect all the wallets, or like a few days before, are you guys gonna send me a link where people can claim themselves? Is that how it's gonna work?
Yeah, well, would be good if your community can send even today, latest tomorrow, a completely updated wallet list, so we can then make sure we add it into our claiming portal. And then once TG is and the launch happens, investors can go to our claiming portal. We'll make sure to share the link with you a couple of days before, and then they can connect their wallet and claim their tokens.
Okay, that's perfect then.
All right.
Can you speak about this little partnership with ChainGPT as well? Because I think this is very important. This is a big platform already.
Yeah. So we were approached by ChainGPT, and they wanted to work with us. They wanted to do an IDO for the launchpad, but ChainGPT, they wanted very, very high unlocks. And obviously, what you see with EstateX, we've done everything we can to reduce the sell pressure at launch and to protect our investors. As we mentioned before, all of our pre-sales sold out in 1 to 3 minutes. There's a lot of buy pressure left in our community. And then when we gave our pre-sale holders the chance to actually stake, yes or no, and then 1 year to 20 years for the ones who staked yes, on average, over 55% of our pre-sale tokens have been staked and locked for an average of 7 years, which is unheard of in crypto. So that's just such a big honor for us. It's such a big responsibility. We take that very seriously. So we always want to be doing things for launch that's going to be protecting the chart and not putting the chart at risk. So we're not trying to kind of like do any crazy unlocks or whatever the situation is. But they came back to us and we got a personal message from the CEO to say, we love the project. We really want to work through some capacity. We want to bring some massive value across our platforms for you from a marketing point of view, so that we're actually having a marketing partnership with them now, which is going to be great because we get to tap into their great, amazing audience of ChainGPT, ChainGPT Pad and DGen Pad as well. And obviously, get a lot more exposure for launch. So it's complementing what we're doing, and it came at a good time.
Perfect. What time is you guys next AMA? Can we continue for like another 5 minutes or?
Yeah, no, we're good. We've got like another 20-30 minutes if needed. Our next AMA is with Maro Nafor, IBC, and that's in 40 minutes time. So we've got another 15-20 minutes at least if needed.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about directly? Because I've asked all my.
There's definitely a couple of things, because you mentioned about the claiming and how people claim. So we want to go into the claim side of things, the staking rewards as well, because you have an option to stake. And we have some phenomenal staking rewards as well. So we'll go into that in a second. And I've seen like a couple of questions in the chat, and Mr. Bossman said it was a good question as well. So basically he said, has the team been involved in any of the crypto projects? Obviously, we're not going to be here to be promoting or mentioning other names, but obviously we'll talk about a project that I was involved in previously. This was probably about a year before EstateX launched, and this was the world's first photorealistic metaverse. And we've always been good at monitoring the market trends and seeing, where the market's going. Keep in mind, this was before Facebook, this was before Meta, and we were, the first people to actually get involved and help market do the business development for a metaverse. And it did very well. We did the branding, brand messaging, we did the community growth, helped out with tokenomics side of things, influencers, websites, social media, and big business development side of things, and just help. We did a lot of the things apart from obviously developing the actual metaverse itself, and it did very well. We took it from 2 million to 350 million, did 170x on KuCoin, and then obviously Bart and Thomas, and probably a few months later, the Meta came out with Facebook Meta, and and they changed the name, and the rest is history. So that was quite an honor to be a part of that, and obviously, what you learn in crypto in a year or two is like 10 years in the real world. And Bart and Thomas were looking for people that one would help marketing, business development, strategic partnerships. They saw what we did over there, asked us, they politely poached us, gave us enough we couldn't refuse. And then literally after working a few months with the guys, we fell in love with the project. We clicked with them on a personal level, because like we said, they could have raised millions in in the previous board market. They chose to build an ethical company, and that stood with our values as well. And then we've been, on board with them ever since. And together, we're taking this all to the next level. So the team is very, very experienced, and we have an understanding, most importantly, of the Web2 market, the Web2 mentalities, and what turns on and turns off Web2 people. And the same thing, we understand the Web3 market as well. And we find that a lot of people in Web2 are very ignorant to crypto and don't know anything about crypto. But a lot of people in Web3 also think the whole world is Web3, and they don't understand the mentality of Web2. So the fact that we can bring that together is really powerful, especially for the RWA niche as well. And then just talking about people who have already been lucky enough to secure ESX allocation in the private rounds, then basically for your community, you'll give us over the wallet addresses. We'll put them into our claiming portal / innovative staking platform. And then when they come, they'll put their wallet address in, they'll have access. And then I'll let Bart talk it through some of the great innovative ways and reasons why they should be staking as opposed to claiming.
Yeah, because we were launching at the moment a huge staking campaign, and that is all tied to something very, very revolutionary. Another great thing that we're building. So first of all, reason to stake is obviously, sharing the longevity and the long-term vision that we have. Obviously, we've been building this for 5 years, not without reason, but to lay, the right foundations and the groundwork to become this unicorn. And obviously, our community has, like I said, staked 55% for an average of 7 years, with an average staking position of 75% for 7 years. Crazy numbers, but it just shows the shared vision of the long term and the longevity that we have in this project. And obviously, the longer that we have, the more revenue flows back into the token, the more projects and music artists, sports team onboarded on the ESX blockchain. Obviously, ESX holders profit off of that. And the beautiful thing about this is that if you stake and lock your tokens, you will get a 20% API on what you stake. That is obviously a great return to get annually. So that is the first reason. But the second reason, very, very cool, is that we're building this AI property and buying, selling agent. And this is going to be, I see you smiling, but this is going to be great, because let me explain to you.
Yeah, I was listening to it yesterday.
Yeah. So basically, there is an AI agent out there that facilitates basically sourcing properties of you. And to show you the potential of what this can do, that AI agent is not even doing portfolio management, not even actually buying and selling. It's just basically sourcing. And that AI agent has already sold over $100 million in properties. It's a pretty crazy number, what it can generate. But we are doing this basically completely different. We're doing this like way better. What we are building is an AI agent that basically does property sourcing based on data, property actually selling and buying. It helps you with negotiation tactics based on data, what price offer to put in, when and why. It basically does portfolio management for you. It helps you get the best yields by way of staking and unlocking certain liquidity features or leveraging. It does complete portfolio management, and it does selling of your property at the right time based on actual data of past performance, future performance, what do similar properties do, the area that it is in, the kind of property it is, based upon the evaluation and stuff like that. So it basically sources all these data. We're feeding it massive amounts of data with the components that I just mentioned. And what it then does for you is it basically manages your whole portfolio. So it basically does sourcing, buying, selling. If you want, it can also do negotiations or assist with negotiations, complete yield management, leveraging management, but also it creates the possibility to become like a sort of a month trader or day trader with property tokens, where you're able to buy it at the right moment and then sell it at the right moment, and all based upon data. And the beautiful thing about this is that we are launching an AI ESX token linked to this property agent, which also has massive amounts of utility for the actual ESX token, where we see a significant portion of revenue flow back into the ESX token by it used to buy ESX off the market, but also it's going to be built on the ESX blockchain. So it basically means that, once again tied into ESX, that this AI agent, where you see another AI agent that's by far not as good as ours, sells $100 million worth of properties, while our AI agent is also getting built on the blockchain and does all the things that I mentioned. And for this AI ESX token, which is tied to this, we are not doing any pre-sales ourselves. We're not doing any selling of this token, and it's going to launch on a sub 100K market cap. So it basically means there's also a huge upside potential in this. And the only way you can get this token before it lists for this revolutionary AI agent is to stake ESX. So if you stake ESX, you will be eligible for an airdrop for this AI agent. This AI agent will launch a couple of months after launch, probably end of the summer, when we are launching our ESX blockchain, because it will be built on the ESX blockchain, also contributing massively to the total value there. But the only way you can get this revolutionary AI agent, which is already proven with a lesser model and launches on the sub 100K market cap, is to stake ESX. So massive incentives there. So 20% API, AI ESX token eligible, but also you'll be eligible for NFT season 2 of passive income, where you're able to generate ESX tokens. You were able to get merch and get access to our exclusive unicorn club with lots of features. So it basically means that if you stake ESX, there's massive benefits for you. Next to the return, next to the longevity that you will participate in. And we always say, like my two UK friends here always say, the proof is in the pudding. So don't take our word for it. Go to the our Telegram, EstateX Official. Go speak with our community members, with our investors, ask them why they've staked for a long time and why they're in this project for the long term. So next to the longevity strategy, next to giving it more time for how the business performs and the inflow that can be there and the projects that we onboard and the backers that we have and the institutions that we're onboarding, massively contributing to the value of the company and directly tied to ESX, you will also be eligible for this sub 100K market cap revolutionary AI agent and get 20% API. So lots of benefits of staking. And if you are interested in staking, I'm sure that CryptoG will be able to set you up in the right way. We'll make sure to send through all the info, how to do it. But yeah, if you're smart, you'll do it and participate in the longevity and become part of the EstateX family.
Yeah, just a question. So, regarding, is there like a limit on how much you can stake, depending on how much API you get? Or
no. The API is the same for the amount you stake.
We will have different levels of staking as well. So depending on the size of the airdrop, obviously you can stake your airdrop, but there will be an opportunity to actually increase your position as well. And there'll be different levels of staking as well. So obviously if you increase your position and purchase more and stake more, then you'd have a high level of category, which means that you'd have access to a bigger airdrop, a more rarer season 2 NFT, and some additional staking rewards as well. So you'll have a series of choices when you go to the claiming and staking portal.
Another one is, how would the airdrop of the EstateX Moonshot be proceeded? I'm not sure.
Good question. So we'll be announcing that very soon. So obviously people going and playing the EstateX game, we see that it's been very addictive, and we've had like thousands of people play it. And obviously the more you play, the more you earn a reward. But we'll be announcing very soon the details of how people can claim, and when they can claim, and what they'll be doing as well.
Yeah. Is that everything you guys want to talk about? Because I personally don't have no more questions, and I don't think these guys have any more questions. But I am very stoked for this project. I think it will do very well. If someone wants to get maybe private sale or something now, would it be too late?
Messages, and then see. Let us know. Let us know what the situation is, and then we can maybe talk after that. Technically the private sale is done. But we do obviously have a great history with you. We do value your community. You brought lots of value, and I know you can bring great value after launch. So for somebody like yourself, we can have that conversation.
All right, perfect, guys. Definitely go check out EstateX on Twitter. I'll put all the links in the description anyways. And Yeah, I'll definitely. I think I'm going to drop a video on this maybe like a 1 to 2 days before launch. You think that'll be all right? Or maybe after
Yeah,
launch?
of course. That's
Yeah.
before
I'll-
launch is good. And yeah,
Before
do
launch,
before
yeah.
launch, and then let's talk about the success after launch as well.
After launch as well. Yeah, we can do another AMA, I think, after launch. You know, I think
Yeah,
that'll be quite
definitely.
interesting. So, but yeah, definitely, guys, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream probably in a few days. Take care. Bye bye.